This will unlock the Buccaneers as a new piece of news is telling us how much firepower the Buccaneers are going to be working with and what kind of secret the Buccaneers have had for their success. Beyond the Baker's MVP season, there is another aspect that people are not talking about enough, and we are here to talk about it today because this defense needs to be acknowledged. I'm Sebastian with Buccaneers Digest. Welcome back, everybody. We're getting ready for this Monday night game with the Lions, primetime. We will be streaming the game here on this channel, so subscribe. Make sure that you are here for all of it. I can't wait to just participate in what is one of the most electric nights in Buccaneers recent memory. Just on top of the NFC, on top of the NFL world right now, Baker MVP, and now we're facing this high-powered Lions team that is looking to get some get back after they lost to us last year at home. Also, just came off of a loss against the Chiefs, so a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of rage probably that the Lions are feeling. And if the Bucs can come out with a win, which I'm expecting they will, there's going to be no denying. There's still no denying right now, but I think that it's going to be solidified. The Bucs are the best team in the league, withstanding the win on Monday. So very excited to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about what could be the key to success for the Buccaneers outside of Baker's play, the return of our boy Mike Evans and his journey to still try and get that 1,000-yard record broken, which I do think he has a chance. There's a little bit of a, are we talking about this defense enough? We talk about it in the sense of oh man, we need these turnovers. We need sacks. Where's our elite pass rusher? Oh, the linebacking room with Sebastian Georgiev, is that really working out? Yes, these are all valid concerns. We're 5-1, guys. These are good things to be talking about regarding the fact that we're winning games. And I don't care if other teams are injured. We're one of the most injured teams in the league, and we're still pulling out these victories. Listen. Let's just break it down. I'm really excited just kind of to talk about why the defense is underrated. Bailey Adams from Pew Report said, as for the Tampa Bay defense, it's been a weird kind of year with a lot of good with some bad mixed in between. The group allowed 35 points 2 weeks ago and gave up some big plays, particularly to Kendrick Bourne in the San Francisco 49ers game last week. But the Bucs also notched 2 takeaways in the win over the Seahawks and then did it again last week in the win over the 49ers. And they ran up 6 sacks against the Niners as well. So while the overall numbers make it seem somewhat hard to get a read on the defense, it has largely been a solid unit through 6 weeks. And I do think that, Todd Bowles conversely says that the pass defense is not yet where he wants it to be. It is coming along as they're communicating more, but it remains a work in progress. And that's very true. However, it is important to note injuries matter. When you are limited in the personnel that you're working with on the field, there's only so much that you can do. Talent, it's not everything in the NFL. I would argue it's a coaches league sometimes more than anything else, because more than the Final Four team that you see in the championship games typically have elite to great coaches, and Todd Bowles is working his way into that conversation, and I think that he is very much in the Coach of the Year running right now, because the Bucs, not just having the best record in the NFL right now, have been working with so many injuries, have been working around so many different obstacles, like the offensive line on the offense. But defensively, our secondary has been banged up, like almost it always is. But we've had 2 stud corners that we got in the draft with Benjamin Morrison and Jacob Parrish. Parrish has thankfully been able to stay on the field basically all season. Benjamin Morrison, we haven't gotten to see too much of him. He played, I think, about a full game with the Eagles and looked really, really good guarding A.J. Brown when he did. And he looks like he will be back. That's part of the news, is he will be back, as will Zion McCollum for the Monday night game against Detroit. So our secondary will be ready to go, while Detroit's secondary is missing a lot of guys, and that's really going to be interesting to see. Okay, so the Lions pass rush is better than the Bucs pass rush, although in the past 3 weeks the Buccaneers have had 15 sacks, the most in the NFL. But it's a little bit of a cherry pick stat when you say this amount of weeks or whatever, but still, I think it's good. That's past 3 weeks. But then again, I think most people would take Aiden Hutchinson over most defensive players in the league. And, Hassan, Yaya, it's a good duo. Vita Vea is just irreplaceable in my opinion. He doesn't get talked about and just how much of a game wrecker he is. I still think he's leading the team in sacks right now. Unbelievable presence. Elijah Roberts, I do want to make a video on him as well. These are guys that are really stepping up in the absence of a Kalijah Cansey, or just other guys who are missing. Vildor, he had an interception against the Niners when we were down a lot of our secondary guys. But we're getting Benjamin Morrison back. We're getting Zion back. Now it's going to be, like almost a full core of secondary players. Antoine's been managing to stay healthy. He had a huge play against the Falcons. He unfortunately had an interception in the Seahawks game that was taken away from him. But I still think he's playing very, very well, despite some big plays that have happened one-on-one. JSN was able to get a big one over him, but it's like JSN's torching everybody. So I don't want to put too much of that on him. But anyway, instead of just talking about all these players individually, I want to talk about Todd Bowles and just the job that he's been doing, specifically because the blitzes and the timing of these blitzes that he's been calling, the way that he's been able to work around maybe the talent that we have on our defensive line or just defense in general. Sebastian Georgiev, a lot of criticism has gone his way because he's been paired with, trying to cover some guys who may be out of his speed range, and which is a fair criticism, but you have to work with what you have. And you've seen that they've sometimes put Vita Vea, we've tried to trick his rush into turning into pass coverage very briefly. Very bizarre play calls, and I think that's being recognized around the league. People will say what they want. I just really disagree with this notion that Todd Bowles has been seen as a question mark or even a liability to some people, rather than no, this guy is an advantage that we have. He is. Coaches around the league, they don't just, talk about respect towards him just because, I have to respect every coach that I face. No, they talk about him as they fear him. Todd Bowles is a man who knows his football very much defensively. And just as a head coach, I think he's done a great job just managing the personalities that we have, creating a good culture along with Jason Licht. And it's kind of a little unrecognized in our fan base. But even John Morton here, the Lions offensive coordinator, said, glad you guys are feeling good. He was talking to the Lions reporters. Todd Bowles, he kept me up late last night. This is what Todd does to opposing guys. Not just in the sense of, I've seen them winning a lot recently. Does that mean that I should pay attention more than usual? No, his name brings fear. His name brings, I have to prepare for this defense a little bit differently than other guys because he actually has an identity to his defense and really knows what he's doing. So I really want to see our fans give Todd some love. He's done a phenomenal job. This is easily the best start to a season he's had as a coach, and I'm hoping this is the best season he has as a coach in general. We're trying to win a Super Bowl this year. That's no secret. But again, I really want to shout out that he has done a lot of really good timed blitzes. The Lavonte sacks / almost strip fumble against Mac Jones. Beautifully timed. Lavonte obviously did a lot of work there, but you could see the hole open up the parting the Red Sea. It was really, really beautiful stuff, and you don't get that kind of play or those kind of plays without the design that Todd Bowles is coming up with, along with his staff that he's put together. But again, I'm just very excited to see what Todd's able to do against this Lions offense when basically most of our guys are in the game and relatively healthy, because we've kind of had to work around certain aspects, specifically the secondary. Do we have to really send more guys in more often? I feel like we haven't been blitzing that much this season, just in general. We time the blitzes more often into more crucial situations, but it feels like he saves the more exotic blitzes for those big time stops in the fourth quarter, because we're always in the game. It's always a one score thing. And they've just been performing so well in the clutch. And the takeaways have been coming lately. We have 4 in the past 2 games, and we've got to keep that up. I think the last time we faced the Lions, we also won the turnover battle, and there was a lot of bend, don't break defense in that game. We held them to 16 points, and that was very, very crucial. There was a lot of turnover on downs. We picked off Goff at least once, maybe even twice. It was a really interesting game just regarding, we thought it was going to be a shootout between 2 good offenses, but it turned out to just be a defensive battle. And I think there's a chance of that happening again. Similar to the Texans game, people were a bit surprised how much of a defensive battle that was. And obviously the Texans offense isn't as explosive as the Bucs or Lions offense is. But God, this season is so weird. You never know. And I really do respect what the Lions have been doing lately. They went into a hostile environment against the Chiefs where they've won before, but they just weren't able to pull it out this time. That's the nature of football. The Bucs are riding high off of a lot of these wins, but so that means they're going in with a lot of confidence, but they're not taking this for granted. They know what the Lions are capable of, and they know it's going to be a heck of a battle on prime time. We don't have to worry about curses anymore. We've beaten all those curses so far, so we just got to focus what's ahead of us, the mission. And I think that the defense is going to be what really stands out in this game. Baker's been really the headline for a lot of the Buccaneers games so far, and I think it's time for Todd Bowles to solidify himself as one of the elite coaches in this league. And I think his time is coming this week. And I'm very excited to stream that game. I can't wait to be there with all of you. But until then, I will see you guys in the next video.